All right, so today we've got a story for you that is just remarkable. It's about a fight for justice, but not one that happened in some fancy law office. Nope. This battle was fought from inside one of the toughest prisons in the country. It's the story of one man, Joel Clavijo, who took on the system with pretty much nothing but what he could find in the prison library. And, incredibly, he won.
Take a look at this number, 12. For a man named Joel Clavijo, this number basically became his entire world back in 2019. Why? Because that's how many years he was sentenced to prison after being convicted of a violent felony. We're talking more than a decade of his life just gone.
Now here's a really important piece of the puzzle, right from the get-go. Joel's fate, it wasn't in the hands of a jury of his peers, 12 regular people. Nope. It was all decided by one single judge in something called a bench trial. You're going to want to hang on to that detail because it is absolutely central to where this story goes.
So let's dig into how things played out initially, leading up to that massive 12-year sentence.
Okay, so right after his conviction in 2019, bam, he gets the 12 years. His lawyers, of course, they get right on it, filing appeals. But look at this timeline. It's just one closed door after another. August 2020, a request to put his sentence on hold gets shot down. Then, fast forward a couple of years to November 2022, a higher court takes a look and basically says, nope, we agree with the conviction and the sentence. I mean, from a legal standpoint, it really looked like it was game over.
But, and this is where the story gets really interesting, it wasn't over, not even close. When all the usual legal options were completely exhausted, the fight just shifted. It moved to a place that was a whole lot tougher. With those appeals denied, Joel was sent to Attica Correctional Facility. Now, if you know anything about prisons, you know that name. Attica is a maximum security prison, one of the most notorious in the country. It's the kind of place where, let's be honest, hope goes to die.
And yet, from inside those very walls, Joel decided he wasn't done fighting. He was going to do it himself. And what you're looking at here is the proof. This is a legal document he filed. Just look at that return address. Joel Clavijo, his inmate number, and then Attica Correctional Facility. This isn't from some fancy law firm in a skyscraper. This is one guy with the odds stacked a mile high against him, fighting for his life.
So you gotta be asking, right? What could he possibly do from a prison cell that a team of lawyers couldn't? Well, he turned to what is basically a legal Hail Mary.
It's called a CPL 440 motion. And yeah, Hail Mary is the perfect way to describe it. See, you're not trying to re-argue the evidence or say the jury got it wrong. You're making a much bigger claim. You're telling a court, hey, the whole process was broken. My fundamental constitutional rights were violated. These things they're incredibly hard to win. Almost all of them get denied.
And these are his own words, written right there from his cell. Listen to this. He's not trying to sound like a lawyer. He's just being direct. He's saying, look, what happened here affected my ability to defend myself. My constitutional right to due process was violated. It's as simple and as powerful as that.
So he puts pen to paper, files the motion, and sends it off. And now we get to the moment that changes absolutely everything.
I mean, this is the million-dollar question, right? You've got this motion, handwritten from a guy in Attica, years after his conviction was already upheld. Think about it. Would a judge even bother to give this a real look?
Well, by what some might call an act of divine intervention, it landed on the desk of a new judge. And this judge, they didn't just see an inmate number and toss it aside. They saw a real legal argument. They looked at the case fairly and impartially, focusing only on the facts and the law.
And the decision that came back on November 6th, 2023, had one single, unbelievable word on it: granted. That's it. The judge agreed. The conviction was thrown out. After all those years, all that fighting from a cell, one word. That one word meant he was going home. So you have to be wondering, how? How on earth did this happen? What was the mistake that was so huge, so fundamental, that a judge could just erase a conviction years later? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of why.
This wasn't some tiny little legal technicality. No way! The judge found that one of the most basic, fundamental principles of our entire justice system had been violated: Joel's constitutional right to be present at his own trial.
Okay, so here's how it breaks down, step by step. First, you have a constitutional right to be present at all the critical stages of your trial. Simple enough, right? And step 2, Closing arguments or summations are absolutely a critical stage. I mean, that's when each side wraps it all up. But here's what happened, step 3. The court let the lawyers submit their final arguments through email. In secret, Joel had no idea. He wasn't there. He never heard what the prosecution's final words were against him, which brings us to step 4. That is a massive violation of due process. His right to a fair trial was completely trampled.
And when you boil it all down, these two pieces of paper tell the whole story. On one side, you have the beginning, a handwritten motion from a prison cell, a total shot in the dark. And on the other, you have the end result, an official court order that says, "We hear you and your rights matter." It's just an incredible picture of what one person's determination can do.
And we have to make this clear. Through all of this, for years, Joel Clavijo has always maintained his innocence. He truly believes that if his case had been heard by a jury, a group of his peers, instead of just that one judge, the outcome would have been totally different. He believes he would have been found not guilty.
So Joel's story is an amazing testament to the power of not giving up. But it also leaves you with this really big question, doesn't it? His voice, against all odds, finally broke through, and it just makes you wonder, how many other stories just like this are out there, locked away, just waiting for someone, anyone, to listen?